Reviews. I'm Captain Mal.
I'm Weapon 2!
And today we're bringing you our official review for It Chapter 2. So It Chapter 2 is the sequel to 2017's It Chapter 1, which itself is an adaptation of the novel by Stephen King, and there was also a TV miniseries or TV series that happened in the early 90s.
Yes.
So I'm not a big horror buff, I'm not super into horror movies, but It Chapter 1 I thought was phenomenal. I thought it was very, very, very good. It was like a surprise hit to me. So going into this movie, I had like a lot of expectations and I was really excited for this. So as always, we'll keep the first part of this review spoiler free. We'll let you know before we spoil things. So It Chapter 2, was it good? Did it live up to the hype? Was it phenomenal? Did it build off the first one and be a surprise hit like the last one? Weapon 2, what did you think?
Well, it wasn't far off from what I expected. There's some differences between these two movies that I think make the previous one better, and that's when you get one of these stories where you're telling about a group of friends and everything like that. It just translates better when they're kids.
Correct.
It doesn't.
100% agree.
Adults, it doesn't translate that well. They had some throwbacks and some flashbacks that I think kind of helped with that. There was some weird elements to this. I can't really remember if it was as much in the chapter 1, but there's a lot in this movie of the throwing in jokes and funny stuff in the middle of a movie that's supposed to be scary. And then some of the stuff that I think they meant to be serious, I thought was funny and I was laughing too.
Concur.
So it got kind of confusing with that. The story was similar to the previous one, so I don't think that it was that different in that. I just think that kind of those two things for me made it just not as good as the first one.
So I kind of agree with everything you just said. So if you don't know, the story of it takes place, with a group of friends. When they're kids, they fight like this demon, this monster thing. They battle it, and they think they defeat it. And the thing with this monster is it comes back every 27 years to start feeding again. And so they defeat it when they're kids, and they think they beat it, but then they all have to get back together as adults 27 years later because it came back, and they have to kill it for real this time, basically, right? And so the first movie is the story of them when they're kids, and then this movie is now them as when they're adults. And the first movie, to me, is better in every single way, right? I feel like you hit the nail on the head that when we're following them as children, their interactions, their dynamic, and all of that is way more entertaining. It's way more interesting. You care about them a lot more. That movie, this version of it takes place in the 80s, so you have the 80s nostalgia thing going on and all that. And you're right, with the way the monster, it was coming at them and attacking them, and it feeds off their fear, so it needs to get them scared before it kills them. So when a child is in these ridiculous situations, the way it would build up the fear and the suspense and all that, it's way more tense and way more believable versus when they're adults and it's doing the same thing, you're kind of just like, well, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, but see, here's the other thing. I don't really buy that whole building up the fear thing and everything, because then there's tons of times where he doesn't. He's coaxing them in, being really super friendly, and then he just eats them.
Right, and that's,
so where's the fear?
But that's an inconsistency. That's a plot hole.
Yeah.
That's an inconsistency because sometimes he's building the fear up, and sometimes not.
Yeah.
And now, so the adult cast is great. James McAvoy, I believe it was Jessica Chastain.
Yeah,
Bill
good.
The adult cast was fantastic, and anytime the adult cast was together and they're talking and joking and all that, it was great. It's anytime they go off on their own, the movie drags. And I feel like Bill Hader specifically stole this movie. He was fucking hilarious, he was great, he was relatable and all that. But for me, the problem in this movie starts off fine enough, and it ends okay. The middle chunk dragged so hard. There's this one point in the movie where the main characters all have to separate to go do kind of a thing on their own. They each have to do something on their own. And so we get the first character, which I believe is the girl, Bev, Jessica Chastain, and we get her scene of how this plays out for her, and it's a very long scene, and you're just like, oh, I was literally like, oh shit. We have to go through this for every fucking character. And you do. And the scenes are all structured the exact same way.
But during those things, I felt like I liked the way her particular section was building a little bit. And then the rest of them, I didn't like it all.
Fuck about
I didn't like it all. So.
And so the movie is 2 hours and 50 minutes long, which I did not know going into this. The previous movie was like 2 hours 26 minutes, which is still pretty long.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was long. I was literally in the theater like, how the fuck long is this movie? No, you could cut an hour and a half out of this movie and it would probably flow so much better. It is like, that is my biggest complaint with this movie. Way too long.
Yeah.
It relies a lot more on jump scares and shit than the previous movie did. And again, just like it is just the same scene over and over and over and over again. And then the story as to like how they defeat it is kind of dumb. Like for lack of a better word, like
It's just
very
clown bullying.
it was very uninspired. It was very uninspired to me. So I think this movie was so again not a big fan of the horror genre itself,
Yeah.
but I really liked the first It. This was a big disappointment to me. Like it's not a bad movie. I just was disappointed. It did not meet my expectations. It was slow. It was boring. The human cast was great, but it got bogged down hard. Do you agree or?
I agree with everything you said. I think the actors were great, and like you said, when they were relating to each other, it was good. It was when they were, I don't know, trying to tell this. It wasn't. It's an interesting take on a horror movie. It wasn't. So it seemed a touch different than a lot of horror movies, and that was okay. But some parts were just kind of weird, and you're right, it just took way too long.
CGI was really bad too.
Yeah.
Well,
But I didn't. I'll tell you, when I go to a horror movie or something, I do not expect the same CGI
No.
as when I go to a kind of a bigger.
But here's one of my inherent problems with horror movies. Why I'm not a fan of horror movies. Okay, the problem with a horror movie is the way a good horror movie works is tone and pacing and building tension and atmosphere.
Right.
I should be fucking scared and tense before I see anything. So that when I do, I'm scared. And then when you give it to me, very little. How much was Jaws shown in the original fucking movie? Almost never. Almost never, right? But you're scared the entire fucking time because of the way that movie builds itself. So with this, there were moments where it's the same monster, but he just takes different forms, will pop out. And like, so Bev's scene, the first one, we'll talk to it in spoilers. I was actually into it until it shows the monster. And then it's just this big, dumb CGI thing that looks fake. And I'm like, oh, well, now I'm totally out of it. And that is my problem with most horror movies. They build kind of, not even well enough, and then they show me some big CGI monster, and I'm like, well, that's dumb. Like, that is not scary at all.
Right.
That's my problem with a lot of horror movies. And this fell into that, like, fucking pit hole more than the first one did.
Yeah.
So, anyway, go see it, I guess. Would you recommend people go see it?
I think it's a fine movie.
It's not bad, yeah.
If you like Chapter 1,
You should watch it.
go see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a similar type movie. It's just when I say that it just kind of bounced from comedy to think. You remember Beetlejuice? I felt like there was some Beetlejuice moments in this movie, and it was just weird.
Okay, so we're gonna go into spoilers now. Spoiler alert. Anything you want to talk about, like in terms of the plot that matters? Because I don't even know if we have to though.
No, I mean, to me, the end was
Dumb.
super dumb.
It was dumb.
I think the way where you can this thing that you've been afraid of, all of a sudden you just like that decide you can start just bullying it and calling it names and then
that was done very well. So the way that they beat the thing, as you probably know since you're in the spoiler section now, is that it's coming at him and it's hard, they can kill it, and I was like, no, it's only as strong as the form that it's in, so it's this big monster fucking spider thing, and it's like we need to shrink it down, and we need to kill it, and we do that by talking shit, by not being scared of it, by telling
you're a clown, and you suck, and you're not funny, and your makeup's bad. Whatever.
Now the concept I'm on board with, like the concept of belief giving something power, or fear giving something power, right? I can get on board with that. And I can get on board with them not being afraid of it taking its power away. Totally on board with that. The way it was executed was poor and out of nowhere. It was like hard, oh my god, it's gonna murder us. You're a stupid fucking clown. Like, out of nowhere. And I was just like that, and then like the way he was withering away and like when his face like fell back on the thing, like, my theater laughed. And I don't think we were supposed to. Like, we were not supposed to.
You know the time where I laughed and I don't think you're supposed to? When all the when the fortune cookies, all the monsters.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
I just started laughing
Me
my
too.
ass off.
Because again, the CGI looked so
Yeah.
bad.
And it was just ridiculous.
It was so
when
stupid.
that baby-headed monster.
Yeah,
started
I
coming
lost
up,
it too.
I just started laughing.
And you're right,
my head off.
there were several moments that were supposed to be the horror scare part of it, where
Yeah.
I'm just laughing, and I'm like, what's up? But
And
then-
that's the other weird thing of them throwing comedy in too. It's like, okay, I can see you want me to laugh right now, but I'm laughing at this, and I don't think you want me to.
yeah, and so and again, like Bill Hader, he had the best comedic fucking beats of this movie,
Yeah.
and so the movie wants you to laugh, and that was a good breakup of some of the other shit that was going on. But then because of that, like you said, there's other moments that happen where I'm like, am I supposed to be laughing? I'm laughing. I don't think you want me to though. And so that took me out of it. And like the whole story, so like, okay, so I've never read it, the book, so I can't compare it to that. I'm just talking about the movie that I saw. And apparently he's a fucking alien. And the alien crashes down, and fucking dude talks to this tribe, and the tribe tells him of the ceremony. All that entire plot was dumb as fuck. All that was stupid. I'm just like, okay, I don't care what the book says. You know what would make that infinitely cooler?
I don't even think that has anything to do with the
Probably
book.
not.
I think that's something they made up.
I
for
was
the
like,
story.
hey, what if he was a demon?
Right.
And instead of like going and talking to some ancient tribe and getting this weird pot thing and having this stupid like, you know, I'm gonna eat the peyote fucking scene, how about it's like, hey, he's a fucking demon, and I'm gonna do some research and find all kinds of old fucking ancient fucking books that reference this monster throughout different fucking cultures, and they say that this is how to beat him. Like that would have been infinitely more believable, because the route that they went was so just, it totally didn't mesh with the rest of the movie at all.
And the other thing that you touched on earlier that I thought was kind of a weird thing for me was you said, okay, you know, the whole belief thing, I'm on board with all that, and I'm on board with a movie where you don't know how to defeat this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's beating you. You think, oh, we've gotta believe in this, or show no fear, or whatever, and then you start getting the upper hand and you win. For me in this, they felt like, it seemed like they knew that already, but then they weren't kind of doing it. Like when they're starting the whole thing, their little thing with joining hands and everything, and let the darkness overcome the light or whatever. It feels to me like even before that, through all that, they had this thing that if they believed they could defeat this thing, they could, but they weren't doing it. And it was weird how, like, oh, we're not believing in the right thing? Well, if I believe this spear, I can throw it, it'll get it. Okay, but then it still kills me. Okay, well, let's just start bullying it. You are a horrible clown.
It's like, and that's because that's how they beat it in the first fucking movie.
Yeah.
Was they fucking weren't? They learned to not be afraid of him.
So they
and so
already
Bev,
knew
that's
that.
why they couldn't kill Bev because she wasn't afraid of him anymore. So they fucking this
How they already
information.
knew that.
Yeah.
And so it's weird to me that they had so much trouble trying to figure out the whole thing.
Also, you know, what was another big plot hole that I noticed.
What's that?
Okay, so the fucking dude who stays there the plot again is like if you move away from the town, you lose your memories of it, right? So the people who moved away, they don't remember any of this. Just the dude who stays there did, and he
They don't
notices
remember
that
where they grew up.
Yeah.
Where they grew up? You know, I don't remember.
This never comes up in conversation ever. And so like he calls them all back, and they all come back.
No, when he calls them back, every single one. He never says, hey, this is Mike Hammond from Indiana. I don't know if you remember me. It's been 27 years. He goes, it's Mike. And they're all like,
I don't know any other mics left.
Mike who? Mike Hammond? He's like, he almost gets hurt and
Yeah.
I don't remember who Mike is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like he learns it from the first one.
No.
Oh, maybe I had to give my last name some
And
context.
he also, based on his research, knows that when you move away, you forget. So he
Yeah.
doesn't lead with any other information. But anyway, so they all come back except for one dude who kills himself because he's so scared he doesn't want to go back. Which is funny because the rest of them, they have like this scared feeling, but they don't know why. And so they go back, and throughout hanging out with this dude and being around, memories start coming back, and he tells them everything. And then after they know everything, all the memories come back, right?
Yeah, but they're literally at the dinner, eating dinner, all joking around, being friends. They still don't even remember any of this other thing.
And after they find out everything, at the end of the movie, after they kill the clown, they all get this letter from the dead dude who's like, hey, I just want to let you guys know I didn't just kill myself, but I killed myself because I'm scared. And I knew that to go back, we all had to be together, we all had to believe, and if I didn't believe, then I was going to cost us all to die. So I killed myself.
That's
So
part of
it's
my
all part of
plan.
my plan. And so like I did it for you guys so you could beat him. And I'm just like, I have some questions. How the fuck did he know any of that? How did he remember the demon? How did he know that's the way to kill it? How did he know, like, none of that made any
None of the
sense.
rest even remember they even grew up in that town.
No,
So-
but yet he has all this fucking information apparently. Made no fucking sense.
That makes sense. You're
No.
right.
So there, and the thing with this movie is I thought it wasn't that bad, but then the more I thought about it, the more plot holes I found.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, clearly I'm not supposed to think about this movie too hard. So
And that's, well, the horror movie genre,
you shouldn't.
you can't think too much in it because it's like, don't fall down. Hey, instead of passing up this axe, why don't you grab it and hit him with it? Hey, remember that gun? Why did you go and grab this piece of glass you broke out of the window? You know, it's that stuff all the time.
It's so stupid though. That's why I can't get into them. Because you know, if there's a big dumb action movie like any Fast and Furious movie, I can turn my brain off for that. I totally can. But most horror movies, they try to have some intricate fucking plot in there where I'm supposed to like take them at their word for shit, and then when they ignore the rules they're setting up, that's what annoys me. But I feel like I'm really being mean to this movie. It's not that bad. It's actually not bad at all. It's an okay movie.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, go watch it, go check it out or whatever. But I was disappointed. Any closing thoughts?
It wasn't as good as the first one. You know?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's about it, bro.
Alright, bro.
Good work.
Hey, thank you for joining us on this episode of the World's Greatest News and Reviews. If you've enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe.
Peace.